So the question, right? The question is always, how are you? And I respond, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. And when I say I'm fine, sometimes I do mean I'm okay, I'm good. Sometimes, y'all, when I say I'm fine, I mean your shoulder looks too sharp to lean on. I'm worried that you'll cut me and drown me in everything that I spill to you. Sometimes when I say I'm fine, I mean, no, I don't trust you to carry all my weight. This depression makes me a lifeless body. This pain be a dead lift. You can't skip leg day and expect to hold all this grief. Or when I say I'm fine, what I really mean is, today I am swallowing hell. Better to be a burning building than to open my mouth and become an arsonist. You may have come into this conversation as an empath, all sympathetic, but you may leave like a burnt body after Pompeii, a corpse after Chernobyl. Most days, how are you is a hollow question, and most don't want the depth of a real response. When I say I'm fine, and what I really mean is, you don't want to know it's not about you. Or, you don't want to know because it is definitely about you. Or it is always about you. And that's a part of the problem. I say I'm fine, what I really mean is, I have always been the rock, the strong friend you're supposed to check on but don't, and what I've really been is a wall with no boundaries, play therapist to every friend and lover while still dealing with my own childhood traumas. So now my love language is acts of service while acting like I got my shit together. Or it's physical touch but emotionally unavailable. It's gifts but not giving myself enough grace to actually be myself. You know, I say I'm fine and I mean I am alive, and that's all I'm grateful for today. Or I don't know how or why I'm still alive. I don't really feel like being alive today, and that is the scariest response, because that doesn't validate a suicide. It doesn't help me heal. It doesn't help me grieve. It doesn't help bring my mother back. It doesn't close a casket or give closure. It just feels dehumanizing or more human than I'd like to be. So I'm fine. I just say I'm fine, and really I mean I am angry or I'm scared or I feel like I'm rotting away. And then what are you supposed to say? I mean, since when have kind words stopped this kind of decay? So I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm not fine. But Paul Lawrence Dunbar said it's easier to wear the mask, smile, and ask, how are you? Never, ever been to Wichita, mostly because it sounds scary. I know y'all are used to it, y'all are here, but a city that starts off with witch sounds frightening to me, okay? And they're like, well, what's in Wichita? They're like, fields. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I am a black man from the South. That's the last thing I want to know about Wichita, Kansas. White people, how y'all doing? Y'all okay? Y'all good? Y'all had it pretty rough about 2 poets ago. These days, like, they looking for niggas to hang. And look right at y'all. They looking for niggas to hang. Are you looking for niggas to hang? It's like, goddamn, bro. Relax, I gotta sell books out here. 5 things they don't tell you about grief. 1, denial is an understatement. No matter how long I watched my mother sink, every day I cried enough to drown an ocean, hoping she'd rise like a tide, but instead, she was returned to me as sand in an hourglass. I still turn her ashes over and over and over in hopes she comes back, but nothing. They say the hands of time are always moving forward. What they don't say is that in grief, the hands will strangle you. 2, anger could have been the name of every stage of grief, and it still would have been true. I was angry in denial. I was angry in acceptance. I was angry at myself for not doing enough. I was angry at my mother for not doing enough. I was angry at the doctors. Felt like they treated her life like a game, and we suffered another loss after we walked out of their practice. They say that you'll be angry when she's gone. They don't tell you that you'll be furious just watching other people celebrate Mother's Day. 3, depending on your religion, you may not do much bargaining. I will not barter with a God that let his own son die swiftly in front of him and let my mom die slowly in front of me. Doesn't feel fair. I mean, my father was a deadbeat, but my mom died first. And every day, I still offer to trade them. Like, bring back the one who was nothing. Bring back the one who didn't care. The one who was never there. Okay, so you may bargain just a little, even if you have nothing to offer. 4 was the stage of cancer my mother was in when she found out. The 4th stage of grief is depression. I think that there are no coincidences. That depression is a cancer. One that my mother had been experiencing long before her diagnosis, like when her father disowned her, or when her mother treated her like a mistake, or when her oldest son, my brother, was locked away for 20 years. Hard to call it a stage when it's all you've ever known. Here's what they don't say. Depression feels more like a trap door than a stage. 5. They say acceptance comes in the end. But the catch is, there is no end. That grief is a jump scare on repeat. You may go months without sobbing, and then boom, every voice sounds like your mother's. Reminded me that I handed her over to a healthcare system that cared more about our insurance than ensuring me she'd be okay. I have accepted that not everyone is going to care about the people that you've cared for. Not doctors, not family, not friends, and they'll all say, gone too soon, but did nothing to keep you here. They don't tell you that the 5 stages of grief are all performances in a show you never wanted to be in front of an audience you don't want to show your tears to, and the reality hits you that the show has to go on until the curtain closes, and you pass this song and dance on to the ones who will eventually grieve you. I encourage all my kids to be open, be vulnerable, but I will say that because of the culture we live in, it's a lot easier for my daughters. It's a lot easier for them to open up to me. It's a lot easier for them to open up to others. You know what I mean? It's a space that's kind of curated for that, right? And not boys so much. And I refuse to do my son a disservice by keeping those things from him. Boys need to be nurtured, right? Just like we nurture daughters. You know what I'm saying? When they're young, you know what I'm saying? Kiss and hug them boys. They deserve affection just like everybody else. They're human beings. Right? They're human beings with human emotions and feelings. Don't take that from them, right? It's literally dehumanizing to remove them from access from all of their emotions. Say word. Word. I kiss my son on the forehead, on the cheek. He's 9 now, but I've done it ever since he was a baby. When he was 2, I kissed him first time he peed in the potty all by himself. At 6, I kissed his scraped knee when a bike ride became a bull ride. He gets a peck atop of his head every day before school. At 12, when the first person he puppy loves dogs him, when a flood breaks from his eyes, I will kiss him dry. At 17, I'm gonna kiss him before prom, tell him he's gorgeous. At 18, give him a smooch right before he graduates. I kiss my son because kids are very embarrassed when their parents kiss them, and I love embarrassing my children. I kiss my son because I kiss my daughters. That's not a poem. We're expected to kiss daughters. Cradle, coddle, give them all the affection, but not our sons. No. We punch our sons in the shoulder, in the chest. Then you man up. You go hard. You be a stone, a wall, but not like Stonewall Rebellion 1969, because that would be gay. You know how fathers are so scared for their sons to be gay or to be anything different than their assumptions, because we're lied to. We're lied to and told that the gay means sensitive, or the sensitive means soft, or that soft means feminine, or that feminine means weak. Fathers are expected to chisel their sons into gargoyles. These sculptured monsters that make concrete of their personality or their sexuality and leave their emotions a fluid, forgotten center. I kiss my son because my mother couldn't kiss me, because my mom had to be a dad. I kiss my son because my dad was never around to kiss me or hold me or tell me I'm beautiful. Not that he would have anyway. I mean, he comes from a time where manliness gets cut from affection, and patriarchy has always pulled the strings, making men these hyper-masculine marionettes who boulder their fists and try to puppeteer women. Masculinity so fragile, but held in the hands of men who only crush and violate, but not my son. He will not grow up in that crater of manhood that I am still climbing out of, where the threat of emasculation is an earthquake, looming around every shaky compliment, where even a hug is a tremor, where I love you is a fault line, dividing men, where fathers won't even embrace their son's cheek for fear of cracking his face like crust, where the male ego gets built like a castle, but could crumble, y'all, with just a kiss. Come on. Dad joke, okay. Why did my dad cross the road? To get away from child support. I'm just joking, it was for crack. Knock knock. Who's there? Not my father. There you go. Dad jokes. That's all of my dad jokes. Still some of my dad jokes, but not my dad. Y'all can clap it up for that. I just wanted to give her one more day. In that time, before her kidneys quit, before her thyroid collapsed, before stress punched her in the eyes, slowed that disco in her chest down to a death march, give her an appreciation for what life has made her. I want to see a smile that doesn't have her past in it. I gaze in rose-colored nostalgia. She would see a cracking wall of the bombshell she used to be. I still see remnants of explosions in her eyes when I was a child. Her arms were like shopping carts. It would load groceries enough to fill tummies, and sometimes I'd ride inside her biceps because it's where I felt the safest. Her knuckles told me stories. I would fall asleep thumbing through pages of scuffles she never wanted to mention. Read a few footprints on her neck and there was blood on her teeth, half beauty, half beast, all bites. My mother never barked. She said, barking is an empty threat and it implies that you are a bitch. Not this elegant seamstress who discovered the chic and draping uncertainty. She was 5 feet 9 inches of fuck you, I'm fierce, and disguised everything that she didn't want noticed. Needled all her worn emotions into steel garments to protect herself from men like her father, womenizers, alcoholics, abusers, and men with egos like thread. The fabric of time, it showed her disdain. She wove morals into everything she made my brother and me. I watched her cut a lot of people loose, but stay stitched to her resentment, made her this glowing crimson sienna. My mother was the most beautiful shade of bitter. She is older. It became a rust color now. She would walk to the mailbox like she wouldn't make it back. Her blood used to rush like it was late for work, and now it would barely get her out of bed. She got a smile like a tattered flag still waving, posture like an old rocking chair, made her voice a raspy sway. Her heart was literally 2 sizes too big, and it didn't have that same bump like it used to, but when I leaned against her chest, it still had the sounds of Parliament Funkadelic and Earth, Wind and Fire in every beat. I mean, her generosity was immeasurable. I mean, she gave because she never got, never had a father, a husband, a man to pull his own weight, a dad, but still managed to raise God's Rosa May. Single mother, workaholic, a sage, but believed in herself the way she believed in happy endings. Had learned from firsthand experience you can't trust people about as far as you can shoot them. Has had every dream crushed under the heel of someone who just didn't love her enough, and had taught her to treat her reflection the same. And I pleaded for her to embrace the beauty in a scarred yesteryear, but often she would respond that it's too late. The echoes of worthless have rang throughout her conscience for too long. She is what happens, y'all, when perfection gets dragged through the mud. My mother wasn't just any woman, she was every woman. She was Whitney Houston, Shaka Khan, Wonder Woman. My mother was more woman than any man was ready for, and more man than any of the ones that came in and out of her life. My mother's got a heart full of batteries. An active morning leaves her drained, leaves her out of breath. She stays plugged into the bed through most of the afternoon, recharging most days, takes all evening. She uses these moments to read scripture and talk to Jesus. My mother owes her life to her faith. Would often ask me to take her to church on Sundays. She remembers all the times she's died, when resurrection has been a defibrillator laying hands on her. She thanks God for all the transformations and never the doctors. I have recently watched a documentary about how often religious books gets doctored, how holy text goes through transformations. I read a lot about scripture. Found there were 14,800 differences between the original Bible and its most modern version. That there was no mention of Christ's return in its earliest rendition, that the similarities between Christianity and Egyptology are uncanny, and most religious holidays linked to Christ are pagan and have nothing to do with Christ at all. And after watching all this, I became agnostic, not atheist. I didn't choose to believe in nothing, not that there's anything wrong with that. I just chose to stop looking through the pigeonhole that is religion. Thought a huge word like God was too big to put in a chapter book. I use terms like universe now. I don't really pray as much as I meditate, and I figured if Jesus, Muhammad, and Moses didn't need a Bible, Quran, or Torah, then maybe I should follow suit. Now, at one point, I thought I had to educate my mother on everything that I had learned, right? I mean, truth about King James, religious fear-mongering, the origin of Satan, and since then, she has stopped asking me to take her to Sunday service. Go figure. Says that she's praying for me, never really specified what she was hoping was going to happen. She thinks I'm an atheist. She had never heard the word agnostic. And I was starting to think there were 14,800 differences between my mother and me. But when the surgeon said there was no mention of her return, I responded like scripture, "O ye of little faith." Realized the similarities between her and I are uncanny. And a little bit of gospel I still have inside had nothing to do with Christ at all. It was after watching cardiac arrest leave her chest split like a Red Sea. After cancer had been a nail in our family's palm, and every man in her life be one Judas after another. These things made me doubt the Lord, but overcoming them made her believe in God more. Maybe she's blind. Maybe I'm blind. Maybe faith it's just about being blind and trusting everything you feel. She calls it God, I call it the universe. She found it in a book, and I found it in her. Look, I've learned too much about the Bible to always believe in it, but she's gone through too much in life not to. My mother passed down the same Bible she swears kept her alive, and I'm going to read it all the way through one day when they add a book about my mother. I'm agnostic, not atheist. There are times I've seen too much to believe in God, but I've watched my mother beat God too much not to believe in something. Parent and child relationship, my personal opinion, parent and child relationships is the closest thing to unconditional love. Every other love comes with conditions. I don't care what you say, all right? You can say you love your partner unconditionally. They got one time to fuck up, all right? Before you pack your shit. They got one time to cheat, and you be like, you are burning this bitch down tonight. Full Angela Bassett car in the back. I don't know how to make fire sound effects. Where's the DJ when you need one? But parent and child relationship is the closest thing that comes to unconditional love. My kids can do damn near anything, right? And I'm gonna love my kids. Listen, let me tell you something. Not that I'm not saying this right. I'm just saying it's true. Jeffrey Dahmer's mama loved him despite him sauteing motherfuckers in the apartment. Okay? That's an unconditional love like I've ever seen one. Okay? And if Jeffrey Dahmer's I don't know how this turned into the motivational part of this video, but if Jeffrey Dahmer's mama can do it, then you can too. Say word. Be like Jeffrey. Be like Jeffrey Dahmer's mama? She might have made a couple missteps, just considering the type of person she turned out to be. There's something happened along the way. I don't know what those decisions were. But love your children is really what I'm trying to say here. My son flutters through the house, arms out in no direction like a butterfly, playing tag with his own shadow. One Halloween, a butterfly is what he asked to be, unprompted. Now, he knows nothing about what society associates with fancy colors and flutter. He just loves butterflies. Now, I don't know if you know, sir. I don't know if you know how hard it is to find I've run out of sage. A boy butterfly costume. But there ain't one. They're all meant for girls. They're all flowy dresses and monarch gowns. They are fairies turned multicolored insect. But we bought one because my baby wanted one. And so there he was, all orange and black, satin, frilly bottom, wingspan, bright as the summer. My son was 3 at the time. He was 3. Doesn't know what a dress is. Never addresses it as a dress when he sees it. Just imagines himself dressed to the nines and free from his chrysalis. And when I was a boy, we couldn't be butterflies. Could we, sir? No, hell no. At best, you could be like a wasp. Something that stings or gets stung, something that hurts, something that gives pain, but never chrysalis. A chrysalis hardens and it bursts a rainbow. A chrysalis allows what's inside to become new. And I was taught that boys can't rainbow. The best you can scab, a scab hardens and then births a scar. Like, boys make it out of their childhood but are often scarred by it. You know, he was so fascinated with butterflies that we learned a few things. Like how some wings are poisonous. Ain't that a metaphor for a boy born into toxic, carrying it on his body, on his back, dangerous, when he just wants to be beautiful, wants to stop and smell the roses? My son still stops mid-stride to admire a flower or the sky or the beauty and just being alive. He is a kaleidoscope of emotions and always breaking free. But butterflies, it's so easy to break. And that is what scares me most. That some human is going to rip away at his delicate innocence. I learned that when you touch a butterfly's wings, it kills a million tiny scales. And this is when a monarch loses his color. This is when a boy forgets he's allowed to be beautiful or whimsical or alive. But if you stay perfectly still, then a butterfly will trust you enough to rest on you. So now, I'm trying to soften my primitive hands so that he lives like a butterfly, doesn't die like a man. Instead, I admire him in his butterfly costume as he twirls and boasts and still plays with all the trucks and trains and little boy things. And sometimes he'll rest his head on my palm as if to tell me thank you for giving him wings. And all of this happens while I'm in my own shell, learning from him how to be free. Sometimes I'm uncomfortable when people just they be like, oh, he's the poet laureate, first of all, anybody know what a poet laureate is? No. Exactly. Okay, all right. Nobody knows. Nobody cares. It sounds distinguished, though. You know what I mean? So I lead with it, but nobody knows. In Richmond, they didn't even know how to pronounce it for the 3 years that I was there. It was like, yeah, the poet laureate. You know what I'm saying? He a poet lawyer. You know what I'm saying? He be representing all the poets in court. I was like, no, that's not, okay, Mom, that's not how it works. I'll explain. Okay, just know that the mayor said I was important. But I'm a firm believer in love, right? I know it's kind of corny. It's kind of like a corny poetry thing to say, but I love really is my religion, right? I think that if we have to, as a culture, move and operate in love first, in kindness first, and I think that changes a lot with how you meet people, how you interact with people, and how those interactions change somebody else and how they'll go on to interact with the people that they go on to meet, right? I firmly believe in the ripple effect, right? Like you throw that rock into the pond and you see how that force goes out and reaches further than that rock ever could, right? So meet people and greet people in love and in kindness first, right? Love and kindness and understanding first before anything else. Say word. Word. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. So when I'm speaking these words, this isn't poetic rhetoric, this is me trying to get back to the sentence from which I came. Okay. Love. Love is like 2 or 3 different more concrete emotions all rolled into one mass combined with flesh and speech to create man. Because in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was love, because God is love. So I love you the way God does. Like forever, like no end, because God, or love, is infinite. And we were made in this image of infinite love. So in the search to find myself, not only had I never left, but I have been looking in the eye of I the entire time, just waiting on me to speak the words. So that God in me can be revealed. So that's self-love. It's what you need first before you go looking for God in someone else. All right, so here's some questions, right? Like if God sees all, how can love be blind? Or if I'm looking for a true love, does that mean I'm looking for a true God if in fact God is love? Or if God is love and this is true, how can we look up to find God but we fall into love? I mean, when did we learn to separate the two? Or if we make love, have we formed God inside the room? Is this the never before explained immaculate conception of God and intercourse of universes colliding, planet first, emitting bursts of energy so far beyond known to flesh and bone that we put it on a throne? I've only known love to be that powerful. So it changed everything. Even changed the way I pray. Like dear love, I God you. Guide me as only you could. So many people run from you, mistreat the vessels in which you were contained because they are told to fear God, which makes them fear love. So they go through life never being able to understand God, never being able to feel love. Even church told me to fear God and ask why. How? How do I love you and fear you at the same time? It didn't make sense. So I had to be born again. I was dying to find you. I mean, I know so many who have died to find you. And often, we are too far gone. We're so far gone that we can't even see where God is anymore. And this is why we look for love in all the wrong places. So in hopes that everyone finds their one true God. In love's name I pray. Amen. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. I was right in the middle of the country. Ain't no water in sight. Where did you get this crab from?
The East Coast.
You know how long it took me to get here? All right.